So I saw this on social media and I thought we should get into this ourselves. Someone made a fighting game input tier list and it's missing some stuff. So what should I add? Tiger knee inputs? Like tiger knee what? Because you can tiger knee any input. Sure, I'll do TK as one. Negative edge can be one. Sure. Six inputs? There's not that many. And also most of the time they have dash macro now. Oh yeah, NRS inputs. What about just like 4-6? No charge. Electric input. You guys like that one? Pretzel is like, it's made up, dude. You want me to put the pretzel input in just to be like, yeah, the pretzel input fucking sucks. This is what a pretzel looks like, right? You made me draw a pretzel just so I could put it in the trash. Mash inputs. Oh, good idea. Magnetic blast definitely sucks, but it's such a, like, I don't know how many things even have that input. We can always add more later. Okay. Cool. Let's just start with something good, an input that we just like. Or maybe actually something we dislike. Backwards DP. This is not a good input. Like this, already good. It's so much better. It's so sophisticated. Such a regal input, right? Backwards DP, ew, stinky, not good. But they're the same image? No, they're not. Quarter circle back and quarter circle forward are also different inputs. Walking or like crouching and doing a DP is very different than walking and then doing backwards DP. The fact that you don't know the difference means that you've never played a character with a backwards DP. Not cool. Not a fan. Not a cool input. Not good. DP, awesome input. I mean, I don't know what my least favorite input is. I don't think it's 2-2. I don't really care that much about 2-2. Yeah, I don't know about it being a replacement for DPs. And I don't know about it being a replacement for DPs with instant tag like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, but I think they're fine. What's something that goes in the least favorite? Pretzel. It's whack. I don't fuck with, I mean, who cares? Mash inputs also, this is mash inputs. They're whack. Even if you can piano and stuff, I don't really think they're that fun to do. More like trash inputs, got them! Double quarter circle, you know. These two, I feel like these are just good inputs. To be honest, the best input, like, it's just classic. You just look at it and just, it's fine. Wee woo wee woo, charge player alert, boring. Quarter circle back, I think it is a little less impactful than quarter circle forward. It's not bad. It's good. It's just not as satisfactory. I think doing quarter circle forwards is more fun. Yeah, it doesn't give me an emotionally good feeling in the same way. Okay, interesting one. 360 inputs. The difference is going to be astounding. S, C, least, bad. I think 360 inputs, they're like in the middle. I think 720s are at the top. 720 is hype. You know that you just ripped a 720 and someone's gonna die. And there's drama. Either the opponent escapes and it's just like, oh, or they get grabbed and it's like, it's exciting. There's so much intrigue. There's consequences on the line. Every time a 720 is performed, it's a compelling part of the match. Negative edge inputs, like, you know, tap from Balrog, Zonk, Zato, Eddie stuff. I think hold and release moves are okay. Like a B. Some of them are really fun, some of them are not that fun. Holding a button is not really that satisfying, and releasing a button is not really that satisfying. But there's like a technical aspect to it that I think is cool. There's another part of it that I think is very annoying when you release the button and then it like doesn't come out. Like you're too early or too late, or like you're in block stun accidentally, or like the timing is not quite right. The reason it's satisfying is because sometimes it does executionally challenging stuff and you're like, oh, but sometimes it's like a zero player just like holding Buster and you're like, oh, that's not impressive, dude. This is electric. Someone said, is electric not the same as DP inputs? No, they are not, because electric requires for you to have a neutral input and then do the end with punch on the same time. I think it's an S tier motion for sure. Like, it's a dope input. These two are like shaking hands. They just feel good to do. When you do them, they're sick. When your opponent goes Doria, like you're like, oh, like that shit. They're still hype. What about, should we start with a charge motion? They're like similar to me. They're A. I got no problem with charge moves. They are not as satisfying to do on their own as some of the moves up here, but having the charge is very cool. It changes the way the characters move and stuff. And when you're like, how the fuck did someone have charge right there? Like, that's cool, right? In the same way that it's like, how the fuck did you react with DP right there? Can't mash charge moves either. I don't buy that. You can mash out a charge move. I'll say it. You can definitely mash. It just doesn't come out sometimes. 4-6 kind of mogs 2-8. Yes and no, because I think having down charge in random moments is cooler than having back charge. Like, it's just like, oh shit, how did you have down charge right there after you whiffed like a stand medium kick or something, you know? Having like back charge, a lot easier. It's a lot more common. You're just walking back. I would rather have 2-2 than down charge. I think 2-2 is not a bad input. I think it's easy to do. I just don't think it's that satisfying personally to do.
As a Bautista player, I enjoy my charges.
Ugh. Just admit that in broad daylight. Double quarter circle back super. First point, easy to do defensively. That being said, not as satisfying as doing double quarter circle forward super. I think it's like here. It's just not as cool. Something about this is just not right. Yeah, it could even go down, honestly. In terms of power, it's very high because defensively you can mash this a lot easier than quarter circle forwards. But yeah, maybe it's like, maybe it's here. Okay, what is this? Quarter circle forward, half circle back. What the fuck is this input? The KOF super input? Oh, you're right. Not all of them though. And like, so, yeah, some of the old Guilty Gear supers are like this. It just feels like two random inputs together, doesn't it? If you shortcut this, it's not that bad. Because most of the time you do moves like DPs or quarter circles into supers in KOF games. So you do like DP, half circle back, and it gives you like the quarter circle or whatever, right? Like you can do it that way. I think because it's an input that's not very simple, I think it's kind of cool, which applies to pretzel, but it's just stupid. But I think like because it's two inputs that I think are fine, it's like a little bit better. I like it more than negative edge, I think. GG super, this one right here, half circle back forward. I love this input. I think this input's sick. It just feels good to end with the forward. It feels like you're pulling back and then just following through. I'm a big fan. To be honest, I think it's like here for me. It's missable, right? Sometimes you can mess it up. There's also things like you can dashing super and build meter because the end is forward. So you can like half circle back, dash forward, and then hit the button. That is very cool. Half circle back and half circle forward. These are both good inputs. I think half circle back is better. Everybody's saying that. Why do we all think half circle back is better? I think half circle back is like here. I think half circle forward's like here. Maybe it's because you naturally you're moving forward or something. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I think half circle forward, it's like there. Okay, you're probably wondering what this chicken scratch is down here. This is up, forward, forward. The magnetic blast input. Yeah, okay. There's not very many moves that actually have it. It's not that good. No modern. What, you want me to put fucking M? Like just you hit a button and a special comes out. It's a motion input tier list and you're like, how about something that's not a motion? Where does Carne Asada land in my motion input tier list? NRS inputs. So this is down forward and back forward. Neither of these require a diagonal. I think that NRS back forward is like a significantly worse version of charge because you get them on accident really often. You're trying to do a string like 4-2-4. You just walk back and then hit forward to do the move. You accidentally get back forward 2, which is your special move. This is like very prone to input errors. So I think it's like a C. Down forward or like down back or like regular NRS inputs, I think they're pretty good. I'm a fan because they're basically just quarter circles without the diagonal, right? It's not as good as like a regular quarter circle, but it's like solid. B. Like maybe here. Tiger knee inputs, I didn't want to do every single input with a tiger knee because then we'd have to double this chart. But tiger knee inputs are very cool, I think. They're just doing a motion and then adding up forward or up back at the end. So they're airborne versions of regular special moves. They just feel cool to do, don't they? It's all the way up here. It's awesome. Tiger knee inputs, they're great. 6-4 and 8-2. 4 back charge moves are like almost non-existent. Same thing with up, down. We could add them, but like I don't think either are better than these two, so they're just lower. A2 is not a cool motion. You don't need me to tell you that. Guile Ultra 1, that shit's like fucking 20 years ago, bro. Who cares? I would probably put the charge super motion above the charge moves themselves. You know why? Because it's more motion. Has more motion in its inputs. 1-3, 1-9 super. I don't think those super suck, man. They just feel gross. You do them and you're like, what the fuck is this? How are charge inputs A? They're so annoying to perform. Just hold back and then hit forward and then hit punch. You sound like my fucking coaches yesterday trying to do the Guile trials. How is 720 above 360? You just asked like, how is ordering a plain cheeseburger lower than ordering like a cheeseburger with toppings? Yeah, it's Daniel and the cooler Daniel. Like the 720 is just cooler than the 360. It just is. You're missing rhythmic press, like hitting buttons along with a rhythm. That's like an A, probably. There's like 236, 236, 236 Rekkas versus 236, 66 Rekkas. Yeah, just go look for 236s on the tier list. Listen, you want me to fucking make a new input that's a Rekka input in parentheses, repeated quarter circles, Rekka input in parentheses, repeated punch or kick button, Rekka in parentheses, DP, repeated punch inputs or repeated DP inputs, Rekka in parent, like, dude, where do you think they're all gonna go? They just look where the input is. Stance cancels. Is that a motion input to you? The answer is whatever you do to get out of the stance. Look that up on the thing. Behemoth half circles, they're cool. I'll say it. I think Gold Lotus is like one of the coolest fighting game characters designed in like the last 10 years or something. The idea that half circles are the direction the coffin turns, and like all of them are really useful. And then they made it so that you can use them clockwise, and it's executed really, really well. And it just like makes a lot of sense. He's like one of the coolest fighting game designs ever. Is KBDing a motion input? I mean, it's a bunch of motions that make something happen. Air dashing, not really a motion input. It's just a thing you do in the game. It's like, you want me to put Street Fighter walking forward. What about wave dashing? What about wave dash? What do you want me to do with that? What about rolling in Dark Souls? Is that a motion input? What's the difference between shield dropping and KBDing and wave dashing and air dashing and like the things on here? You can figure out the difference between them probably pretty quickly. I'll give you a hint. One is moving and the other one is like attacking. And when people say motion inputs, they usually are referring to things that do attack. And when people say, I don't like motion inputs, do you think they mean moving or do you think they mean doing quarter circles? Why is 2-2 on the list but 6-6 isn't? Because like you don't really have a lot of like 6-6 like dashing motion inputs like for special moves. 4-1-2. It would be low, but like why? What game even has that? Raging Demon? Yeah, we could have Demon's like the best suggestion that we didn't have. I don't think the input's very cool. But like you can hide it in a bunch of things, which is cool. The demon itself is really cool, but like the input, it's all right. So it's like an A or something, B maybe. Where does a neutral input rank on this list? You mean nothing? Nothing on this list? It's there. You can find it. Pentagram input, the star input. I mean, we all know the answer. If it's not even good enough for me to draw it in paint and save image as and then put that shit in this list, it probably sucks. The worst NRS input I didn't even put on here. The command grab input from NRS games are really bad. Dizzy's old gamma ray command. I think we covered most of like the actual common inputs that people use all the time. Do you think 2XKO was wrong to make their game inputless? No, I think it makes sense to not do motion input. You know, on that topic actually, something about having no motion inputs in your game that I think is interesting. One of the core problems that 2XKO had with its first alpha lab was the controls were like really funky for people to deal with. And it's because 2 of the buttons are special move buttons, because normally those like commands are all tied to doing a motion input and hitting light, medium, or heavy. The game already has a light, medium, and heavy. It means that those light, medium, and heavy buttons are only normals and can't do any motion commands on them, which means you need a button to cover special moves. They need 2 buttons to cover special moves. Now you have 3 attacks plus the 2 special move buttons, and you haven't covered any like assists or team stuff or any other mechanics that the game may have. Dash buttons, like dash macros, things like that. It just clogs up your control scheme very quickly, right? That's why Smash makes a little bit more sense in this, because the attacks are just like tied to 1 button. Your fighting game already has 3 to 4 attack buttons. So then things have to start to overlap. And then when they start to overlap, it gets more complicated for people. Instead of like this button does this thing, and then you start to run out of space pretty quickly, because it's like, okay, well then your character can only have 4 special moves or whatever, like up, down, left, right, or neutral. So you get like 5 specials. But if they want more specials than that, you got to start adding another special move button, or like you got to figure out a way to add more on there. And like that's becoming, I think, more and more complicated. Yeah, you have diagonals, but you know, it just starts to become more clunky. Imagine if your special moves were like diagonal, down, down, forward, down, back, left, right, up, forward, up, back, like, you know, and up. Like you just, it's too crammed and it's too easy to get the wrong things. The other thing is you have to be a little careful about like the power level of 1 button special moves. Like if your special moves just shut down the screen too easily, very dangerous to deal with. I mean, yeah, Darius doing a 1 button special armored DP into super was like such a big problem, I think. Same thing with beam super, same thing with like basically anything you can imagine. Lack of motions makes characters less interesting and less unique. I don't think so, in the sense that you could take the Street Fighter characters, I mean, they already did with Modern, and just make all of their stuff 1 button instead of motion, which they literally did with the game already. And I think the characters are still interesting and cool. I think the problem just becomes you have to lose stuff. Like Modern Control has only 3 attack buttons, light, medium, and heavy, so they don't get all the normals because you just can't fit them all. It's got a special move button, right? And then it has like a bunch of other commands and stuff that you have to map. Like Modern is actually very control space heavy by comparison to Classic. Tekken actually doesn't have a lot of complicated motion inputs by default, right? It really just is button plus direction as like the vast majority of it, which I think it makes it pretty accessible. It has the best jumping on point of like I think almost any fighting game. Mashing just does cool stuff and like strings and attacks and cool looking things all the time. But then it's really hard at the mid-level, and Street Fighter used to be the opposite of that. I think like learning mid-level Street Fighter was like a lot easier than learning mid-level Tekken, but the onboarding, the beginning of Street Fighter was really dense. You would do jump, heavy, kick, sweep, right? And like you couldn't do motion inputs, you couldn't do all kinds of stuff, so nothing cool would ever happen. But Modern fixes that. It means that you can immediately do all your most powerful moves. It means you have auto combos to make cool stuff happen. Every time someone jumps, you can do auto one-button anti-airs, you can do one-button supers, you can do all the cool stuff in the game immediately. And then that gets you to the mid-level very quickly, and then that gets you past that even faster. So like Street Fighter solved its biggest problem, the like onboarding part being the issue, and made the game so much easier for people to get into. If I was thinking about Tekken and like the problems with it as like someone who worked on the game, that's what I would think about. I wouldn't think about like, how do we get new players in to like mash in our game? Because I actually think that that's like the easy part. The hard part is like, how do you make the middle of the game fun for people?